Good evening and welcome back to the Learn to Love You show. I am, as always, your host, and I'm excited to be here with you this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Along with being the host of the Learn to Love You show, I am also the founder and CEO of Voice of the Victim. Voice of the Victim works with victims and survivors of domestic abuse, abusive behaviors, and sexual assault. Our goal, our endeavor, our end game is to help victims and survivors of transition from being a victim to a survivor and ultimately a thriver and walking in their purpose in spite of the abuse they've had to endure. This is our end game, what we want to do. This is what we try to do. This is where my heart is. As a survivor myself, I know the struggles and the changes and the difficulties to move and transition from one thing to the next and ultimately to walk in my purpose. I'm still transitioning. It's something that comes and is constantly growing and evolving and changing. As you change, the challenge change and your strength change, and you can go along with that. It's a wonderful place to be, and this is what we want to do. This show is also to encourage you to be the best you that you can be. Yep, no matter where you are now, you can always get a little bit better, a little bit wiser, a little bit stronger. We want you to be the best you that you can be and to walk in your purpose. Tonight's topic is, oh, excuse me, right here on the side. The first step to getting what you want is getting rid of the things that you don't. Ooh, that's kind of tight, right? That's kind of tough. I mean, you think about it. If I'm holding on to this pen, but I want to hold that candle, I got to let this go so I can reach out and get that. I can't hold this and that and both be safe and secure. You got to let go of the things that you don't want in order to evolve and get what you do want. And why am I saying this? And we're talking about life as a whole, but today we're talking about relationships. If you're in an abusive relationship or in a relationship that's not giving you what you need and what you want and not adding to you, find a way to let it go. The thing about relationships, two, one, don't be in any relationship by yourself. I'm going to say that again because I felt that because I'm applying it to myself. Don't be in any relationship by yourself. If you're the only one that's doing all the giving, if you're the only one that's being the affectionate one, if you're the only one that's sharing and caring and pouring out, if you're the only one working to build on that relationship should be let go. Because anything that's not adding to you is taking from you. Renita, how can you say that? Let me tell you how I can say that. If you're pouring everything you have into something or into someone, I'll use a bucket. You got a bucket and you're pouring everything into that bucket, and that bucket has just got holes in the bottom of it. You're just pouring it and pouring, and you're giving and you're giving, you're sharing and you're loving, and you're just pouring your everything into that bucket with a hole in it and not getting anything back. It's not even holding enough water. Not that the water's given back to you, but what you're putting in is not even being held. That same effort you can put into a bucket that's safe, that's secure, that's that's whole. So at least when you pour it in, when you have to go back, you can get something out. So if it's not giving to you, you're just pouring it in there, and it's going out into the ground. It's like throwing pearls up to the swine. It's like this going into your jewelry box and find your best piece of jewelry, the one that you inherited from your grandparents, your great grandparents, and just passed it on down to you. But instead of taking it and securing it and putting it in a place that's safe or wearing it and being beautified with that jewelry, you're going to go out there and say, okay, let me go throw it in the hog pit. What do pigs do? They eat everything you throw in front. Pigs and goats will eat anything you put in front of it. And that's the same principle is when you're giving everything to somebody or to something or to some place. and you're not getting anything back. If all you're doing is pouring out and nobody's saying thank you, nobody's saying this is great, nobody's saying I appreciate you, and nobody's willing to give you that same time, attention, affection, love, if they're not giving that back, then you're wasting your time and your energy. And they're taking something from you. They're taking that heart and that love, they're taking it from you and not putting anything back in its place. If it's not giving, adding to you, it's taking from you. Reciprocal relationships are what you're looking for. And again, I am not just talking about intimate relationships. I'm talking about any relationship you're involved in. I'm even talking about your job. If you working on your job, now don't give me let me get my disclaimer out there. You don't go to work to get a pat on the back and get a good job and all that. No, they write you a check at the end of that, or they put their money in that bank for you at the end of that pay period. If you want appreciation and all that lovely stuff, it's good to get it from work, but don't expect it from work. The fine print on your job description did not say, we're going to love you, we're going to treat you nice, we're going to be your best friend, we're going to be your road dog, and we're going to go out and have drinks at the end of the week. It didn't say none of that. They gave you your job description, and you fulfill that job description, and they're going to write you a check. But that is a relationship that you guys agreed on. I'm going to do the work, and you're going to pay me. Now, if you do the work, and they don't pay you, then that relationship has now become a voided contract. But as long as they're doing their part, you're doing your part, that's the relationship that you're in. If you have a friend and you're the only one that's always calling, the only one that's always texting, you're the only one that's knocking on the door saying how you doing, that's a problem. But then my producer said something that kicked in, that hit me a little bit. You have to know who you're dealing with. A friend of mine once said, you got to know the animals that's in your jungle. You got a relationship with your friend, and your friend, you're tight, y'all rolling, y'all share everything, but your friend has hit a problem or hit a situation or hit a scenario in life where the world is crashing around them, and you're constantly pouring on them and pouring into them, and you're supporting them, but you're not getting anything back. You got to look at what position they're in. If you want to preserve that relationship, you kind of have to look at where they're from. Once again, this is my scenario. I'm looking at this glass. This is not a good one. Let's look at this box. That box, I have no clue what that box says on the front of it. I said it's not a good one because we say the same thing on both sides. That box says one thing on the front, but on my side it says chase ideas. So if you ask me, what do I see? I see chase ideas. Producer, what does that side say on that side? It says smile on that side. But I can say, no, that don't say smile. That says chase ideas. And you're saying, oh no, it says smile. No, it don't. It says chase ideas because I'm not looking at it from your point of view. I'm not sitting in your seat to see what you see. So when you have a relationship that under the normal circumstances, y'all are doing pretty good at sharing and texting, calling, looking out for each other, taking care of each other. Hey, let's go to the movies and let's look out, and then something happens, whether you know what that something is or not, but they changed and they're not as what you might think is attentive. Find out what's going on in their life. Find out what changed. It's called talking to each other, having a conversation, and understanding that that other person might have something going on. They might need your support. So, with that being said, go back and find out what that is. Now, if you find out that that person is just like, okay, I'm done. I just don't have time to play with you right now. I took my toys and I'm going home. That's fine too. Then you have to reevaluate that relationship. Do you still want to be in a relationship that when they got a little attitude, they take their toys and go home? Do you want that in your life? Anything you don't want in your life, get rid of. because it's like carrying junk. Y'all don't see the junk in my garage. Lord God bless me. I can't even put my car in the garage because I have so many empty boxes or boxes full of stuff that I need to get rid of. You got to get rid of the junk. TD Jake said the junk in the trunk. If it's not adding to you, it's taking from you. It has to be reciprocal. And in the same vein, find out what the other person is going on in their life. You're not anybody's whole world. I hate to say it. I love telling people it is all about me, but in the real world, I know it's not all about me. I may want it to be. And there are days that I have people that make it all about me. But in real time, in real life, you have to look at the other person's point of view, find out where they are, and then determine, are they given to me? Are they taken away from me? You don't have time for anybody that's always taking and taking and taking, because after a while you're going to be empty and they're going to walk away with all you got, all of it. And what's left for you? You're going to be sitting there trying to rebuild what you took years and years of work and effort to put in. You got to replenish yourself. And that's hard. You don't want to go into a next relationship empty, completely empty with nothing to give but hurt. You don't want that. So if not adding to you, they're taking from you, and evaluate if that's a relationship that you want to be in. Well, what's your first step? Take a look. Sit down and make a list of the people that are closest to you. And this is not to say you go around and fire people, although you are the CEO of your life. You are. You truly are. Nobody else has the complete power and control to make every decision about your life but you and God. You are the CEO. You determine who you're going to hire. You're going to determine who you're going to promote. You determine who you're going to demote. You determine who you're going to put on temporary leave of absence. And then at the end of the day, you determine who you're going to fire. You determine who you're going to let go and they're not going to be part of your life anymore. And guess what? You can do that without an explanation. You can just say, not doing that anymore. And you can forgive somebody and never have to talk to them again. Ooh, did I just say that? And I'm a Christian? I'm a saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, fire baptized child of God? Yes. And y'all got proof that you can do it. Jesus forgave so many people, forgave them, and never looked at them again. Just because you forgive somebody doesn't mean they have to be part of your inner circle. They don't have to be up under you anymore. They don't have to call or text you anymore. They don't have to send snail mail. They don't have to send carrier pigeons or smoke signals anymore. Done. You're done. I forgive you. I just don't want you back in my life because you're not adding, you're taking away. And if you are adding, you're adding stuff I don't want in there. You have the right and the responsibility to take care of your physical, mental, emotional self. And that goes from the top all the way down to the bottom. You are the CEO of your life. What you don't want in your life, you need to get rid of. And the only way to have good things come in is if you let the old and the bad things go so you have room for the good. If I would get rid of that stuff that's in my garage, I could actually park my car in the garage and not have to clean the snow off my car. You see what I'm saying? I got so much junk in my garage that when I want to go out, I got to clean junk off my car just to utilize a vehicle that's working perfectly well. Does that make any sense at all? I have space to protect my car, to keep it clean, to keep it from the weather. And Indiana weather is crazy. I have a means to do it, but I won't clean the junk out so I can put the good things in. Now take my garage and put your life in its place. How much junk do you have in your life What corners of your life is so full of unnecessary gossip, mess, trash, stuff that you're not even utilizing? And you may not even know it's there because it's been there so long, holding space and collecting dust. And if you were to get rid of that corner or that part, or just clean out the garage of your life, what good things could you let in? If you were to let the hurt of your past go, the relationships of your past, let them go. Forgive them, and more importantly, forgive yourself and let it go. What great, wonderful, comforting, emotionally satisfying things will be able to fit into that space? I want you to think about that for a little while. I promise you, when I talk to you guys about stuff, it hits me right in the middle of my forehead. And it makes me go home and sit down and say, okay, I got to clean out the garage of my own life now that I done put it out there. Before I close, I want to tell you one quick thing. And the reason why I say it the way I did, when I was growing up, I was studying to be a minister. And one of the main things my pastor told us is, you remember, whenever you're speaking to a group of people, God downloads that stuff. He gives that stuff to you first. I say that to you, and I expose and be transparent about that to you, because when I'm talking about this stuff, no matter what I write on this paper in preparation, it comes to me first. It hits me first. And some of the stuff that I've written down, I haven't even gotten to, because God downloads things for me to share with you. But believe me when I say it hits home first. So as I'm telling you to clean out the garage of your life and get rid of the trash and the empty boxes and the bins that we've purchased from Walmart or wherever, clean those bins out. I'm going to be doing that for my life too. That's going to be my goal as well. Somewhere down the line, we're going to talk about those bins in my garage, and I'm going to tell you how I got my car back in my garage, my physical car, and then my emotional and my personal car as well. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you taking out the time to be with us this evening. I am so grateful. I want you to like, I want you to subscribe, I want you to share, I want you to tell other people to get on board. To tell you the truth, this can grow and be such a big thing. And I believe with everything inside of me that this is not going to be something that's going to be just a little local thing that somebody's doing in the back of their room somewhere. This is going to be worldwide, because there are people all over the world that are looking for ways and somebody to help them through whatever that struggle they're going through right now. And I believe that I am one of the tools, that this show is one of the tools. My producer, my editor, the people that are working with me. This is not about me. All of us are doing this together to be one of the tools that God is going to use to help so many people just like you and me to be delivered, not necessarily and only from domestic violence or sexual assault, but from delivered from whatever your scenario might be, whatever your case, whatever you're going through right now. Just know that God is looking down and he's watching you. He saw what was happening to you right now before you were a glimmer in your daddy's eye. He knew it was going to happen. And he already has paved the way of escape. Trust God. He got you. He got you. As I always say as I close, beneath your skin and behind your eyes is an absolutely beautiful you. Learn to love you. Until next time, bye-bye.